Hello, guys. This is Parag here, your host on Stay Strong podcast. Thank you very much for tuning into this podcast. It's my promise to bring you the world class information in the field of kettlebells, kettlebell sport, and strength and conditioning. Every week, we invite guests from all over the world and speak about kettlebell sport and their experience. Today, we have Jenny from UK. She's PhD and simultaneously also doing kettlebells and kettlebell sport along with managing the family. We are going to understand her training methodology, her nutrition. How does she manage training 4 to 5 times a week, plus her work and plus her family? It's going to be very interesting talk because, especially in this age when you find time and space to lift kettlebells and represent country, it is quite interesting for me because my purpose is to reach out as many people in India, even outside India, so that they can take the kettlebell sport and use the tool in any corner of your house and represent your country, represent your state, represent your club, and get started with the kettlebell sporting journey. So, we are going to deep dive into Jenny's mind and understand her training methodology. Guys, please help me welcome Jenny from UK. Hey guys, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on this podcast. The more you interact, the more it reaches out to a wider audience, and the more kettlebell sport get awareness all over the world. Thank you very much. Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Stay Strong podcast. We have Jenny from UK, and it is going to be a quite interesting talk. She's been lifting kettlebell since 2015. Over to you, Jenny. Please introduce yourself, how you got into kettlebell sport, and your professional background as well.
Okay, so it all started. Actually, it started in 2012 for me with the London Olympics.
Okay.
And I was a volunteer at the London Olympics and just had a moment. I was based in the Athletes Village, which was a fantastic experience. And I had a moment where I just thought, I could be an Olympian. And it's bizarre because I was 50 and I was never going to be an Olympian, but I knew I had something in me that meant that I could find my sport and achieve at a really high level. So that's when I went from being a sort of mum who did classes at gyms to somebody that really, really trained. And it also coincided with my children being a little bit older, leaving home, going to university. And at this point, I was also on my second career. So I had two careers and I've had two fitness journeys, really. So my first career was as an R&D scientist. I have a Ph.D. in microbiology, worked in some of the best labs in the world, in the UK in particular. And then I worked in food and pharma, developing new products and medicines, etc. Then I had a moment of, why am I doing this? I'm doing it because I've trained in it, but I don't love it. It's just a habit. Retrained with an MBA, and my second career is in leadership and management development. So lots of training courses for companies and government departments. That coincided with finding my fitness as well and my children moving on. So everything kind of aligned around 2012. And I had at that time a personal trainer, Paul Connor, who's somebody people in the UK would definitely know, who said, I've got the answer to fitness for you. It's small and it could fit under your kitchen sink. And I thought, okay, what is this thing? And this thing was a kettlebell. And gradually Paul built a club in Cheshire where we learnt the basics of all the lifts with for me, just a pink bell and a blue bell, an 8 kilogram and a 12 kilogram. And a whole group of us learnt together, and we did our first competition in 2014 in Manchester, which was the British Championships. And nobody else my age or weight entered, so I won. And it's like, I like this, I like winning. And it's kind of disappointing that nobody else entered, but I think if somebody else had beaten me, I might never have lifted a bell again. But when you win and you feel the joy of winning, I find that really quite addictive. So that's how my competition was born. And I met some fantastic people there. Maxine Morris, I met.
Yes.
And she said to me, if you do that again, you could qualify for England. I thought, what? I had no idea that this was really a major sport, let alone that you could be, a national person at it. so yeah, stuck with it after that, did qualify for England. And then my first competition was in Dublin in 2015, which I didn't win. And I made every mistake in the book, but I enjoyed it. And at that point, Paul Connor stopped doing kettlebells and I had to find another coach. So moved coaches to Anna Plumridge from Boxbell Fit. And then eventually Anna stopped doing kettlebells too. And then I moved to Chris Gile at the Kettlebell Sport Hangout. And I've been there 3 years now.
Okay. Wow. Interesting journey.
Mm.
So Jenny, are you still into the research or you're a full-time kettlebell athlete, or what do you do now?
Yeah, no, I run my own business. So I still run a leadership and management development training company. The fact that I run my own business means I can work hard, then have periods off to do my training. I don't work full time and I don't train full time. I'm still trying to balance both. And as I think about retirement, I know that kettlebells can replace everything I get through work in terms of interest, company, challenge. All of that can come from kettlebells when I'm ready.
Absolutely. Okay. Wow. Great. Who introduced kettlebell sport to you? Of course, you mentioned your coach, but was it you were looking, or it was just like a random you want to get? Because initially, even anyone who gets started, they get started with the fitness activity with the kettlebells, like doing swings, cleans, presses. Kettlebell sport is a total different school altogether. So how do you got into it?
So initially, we were definitely using the kettlebell instead of a dumbbell.
Yeah.
And then gradually, Paul introduced this concept of kettlebell sport as opposed to hard style. And I had no idea what either of those phrases meant. So I never really did hard style. I have only ever done kettlebell sport. So I don't know what I don't know. All I know is kettlebell sport. Okay. But I know every lift going, I think.
Okay.
And every format.
Okay. So who introduced sport to you? Like you by yourself went to the sporting, or like if there is someone ideal you followed that, okay, this guy or this girl is doing wow, like you mentioned Morris, who was lifting there, and she mentioned that you can make into the team of England. So yeah. So way back then,
who would I have admired back then? I always admired Anna, who was my second coach, Anna Plumridge, because she was a pro lifter.
Okay.
She was trained by Abigail Johnson, and Abby is still, for me, one of the absolute idols of the sport. To see her lifting a 24 and snatching a 24 for 200 reps, and at the very first competition I was at in Dublin, she was very competitive in that. I think she equaled the Russian lifter, but lost on body weight. So that for me was just one of my really exciting moments in sport, was watching that.
Okay. Now, before getting into any kind of fitness or sports, did you had any kind of a fitness background all the way till 2012? Like probably running, maybe some swimming activity. Did you do anything, or it was just you started your fitness activity in 2012? How it was?
I always did classes at the gym because they were fun. And then I would go and have coffee and a cake afterwards, thinking I was getting fit. And of course I wasn't. I was eating more with that coffee and the cake than I was ever burning in any kind of exercise class. So it wasn't serious, but I thought I was being serious. I did a few fun runs. I did some 10Ks. I involved my kids and my husband in 10Ks. We did a lot of family activity. Okay. My husband's a very keen cyclist, and we all started cycling too, because otherwise he would disappear for bike rides for hours on end and we'd never see him. So we did a certain amount of cycling and running for fun or for a charity.
Okay. So during your school and colleges, were you active quite in sporting activities?
Yeah, at school I always played hockey. Being in the hockey team. Started hockey at university. Found that quite difficult to commit to. Did a bit of rowing at university just because I'd never done it before. Did a couple of regattas. We were really terrible, but we just had a good time, and it was nice to be on a boat in a river. It was lovely. Okay. Yeah, so a bit of rowing. So I've always liked competing.
Okay, okay, okay. Now you started kettlebells a little later in the age. Now, when you encountered kettlebells, when you started lifting kettlebells, of course, kettlebells can be brutal at times. Like maybe it is banging on your wrist, maybe it is not really comfortable on your shoulders because you're not very flexible. You need to work on a lot of other components to get really that sync, to get into that sync. What was your initial inhibition about kettlebells or kettlebell sport when you got into this area of lifting?
Yeah. I definitely had the bumps on the wrist and I had bruises. I remember being in a meeting and I had really big bruises on my wrists. And the client I was talking to, was sort of saying, "What are you doing? How has this happened?" Because you can't quite imagine how those bruises come unless you lift kettlebells. So the bruises was an issue until I found my way to kettle guards, and I'm still a kettle guard user. I think I always will be. The hands, the tears on the hands, the blisters. I think one of my big breakthroughs has been learning how to look after my hands and get over technique that rips hands and look after my calluses as well. So definitely inhibitions around bruising and tearing. I had friends who were concerned that I was going to get very muscly and that as if that was a bad thing. And I think a lot of women my age are worried about being bulky and muscly. I absolutely love it. And I don't think many people seeing me normally would think I've got muscles, but I have and I love them. And it's just a complete red herring, we would say. It's a red herring that muscles are a problem, I believe.
Okay, okay. As the age progresses, our efficiency to lift weights drops. Maybe we do not carry more muscle. Maybe we do not have that kind of a mindset. We want to relax. We feel that yoga is better. Maybe probably running is better. What is your take on this? Because now you're lifting for England and you have a totally different mindset than women of your age. So how do you want to give a message out to the other people who are at your age and want to get into this sport? And how do you manage yourself on this area?
Yeah. I feel quite strongly that you should start light, perfect your technique light, and then just get heavier and heavier. And the better your technique is, the heavier you can go. I think it's a mistake to be embarrassed about lifting the pink bells, for example. You have to start light. I think injury comes from what I think of as ego lifting, where it's like, I'm going to try a 24 just to see if I can. And then the next thing you know, you've got tendonitis in your elbows or your shoulders. And I don't lift very heavy. I would rather lift long and light than short and heavy. But I've also never been injured. Touch wood. I have never. So for me, injury prevention is just take it gently. Don't go too heavy too soon. But I do think yoga is really, really important. I do yoga as often as I can. I think massage is really important to just keep flexible. I think I would do that even if I wasn't lifting. I just think it's so important for aging in general.
Okay.
And I love that every day I wake up thinking I feel fitter than I've ever felt in my life. And when you're in your 60s, that is a very nice feeling.
Okay. So how does your program look like, Jenny? Like, for example, you start on Monday and you probably end on Saturday, Sunday, you might be resting. I don't know how it works. Do you add strength training? Do you add cardio? Do you add swimming, yoga, right from Monday up to the entire week? How does your program look like?
So I would typically do 4 kettlebell sessions a week, Monday evening, Tuesday evening, Thursday evening, Saturday morning. Then I would supplement that with cardio, which for me would usually be watt bike, spin, or an actual bike ride. Sometimes I run. I would always try and do yoga and Pilates as well. And I would warm up really thoroughly for all of those. That is something that's really changed with age, is that the older I get, the longer the warm up takes. And that warm up isn't necessarily with bells, that is just getting myself mobile. So for me, that's really important, the mobility. Massage, I wouldn't do a competition without a massage first. I just feel like a massage makes everything better.
Absolutely. So you train 4 times a week, but you incorporate the strength training on the same day of the kettlebell training. Is that so?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Depends on, if I'm working, I might have to do yoga, spin, and kettlebells on one day. So it's not consistent. But I do those 4 kettlebell sessions online with the Kettlebell Sport Hangout. I'm not somebody that can train on their own. If Tracy Howson and Chris Guile send me my program and I look at it and I think, oh, or woo, okay, I like look at that. I always have a view on the training. But if I didn't see them online and do it with them, I don't think I'd do it. Okay. So I need
inspiration.
Yeah, I need the company to do it.
Okay. How do you recover, Jenny? As you mentioned that the massage is important, but post-workout, do you of course, you spend more time on stretching, and how is your nutrition around the workouts, the training programs? Do you have more proteins? Do you take supplements? If you can just highlight on it.
So I'm not good at doing anything after sessions. I'm not a cool down kind of girl. I'm a warm up kind of girl, but not a cool down kind of. At the end of my sessions, we say goodbye on Zoom, and then I think we all head to the settee with our tea and eat something. But in terms of nutrition, I weigh myself every day. I'll often weigh my food every day, so I know what I'm taking in. And I'm particularly keen to take in a lot of protein. I'm vegetarian, so taking in a lot of protein is not easy. Sometimes I'll have fish just to make sure I have some protein. I don't take anything else.
So do you take any supplements, protein shakes?
Sometimes a protein shake, sometimes instead of a breakfast, but it would be a meal replacement, not in addition to something like that.
Okay. And how about multivitamins, vitamins, calcium?
No. I hope and think I get all that through a good diet.
Okay. So
I do record. Sometimes I've said I've weighed my food. I know that's weird, but it works for me. And sometimes I will even break down, carbohydrates, fats, proteins, minerals, vitamins. I can be quite precise in what I'm eating.
Okay. Have you noticed your progression in the training with the current nutrition? Whatever nutrition you're taking, have you progressed with it, or have you checked that, okay, sometimes if I take supplements or maybe if I take multivitamins to recover my body, I'm able to perform even better? Have you tried that at this age? Because that's a very key understanding for other viewers who are your age who want to take supplements or not, or probably be like what you are doing.
So the only place where I've thought about this is if I'm preparing for a competition where I need to make a weight, and I always try and compete at the lowest weight category. Then how I drop weight, I think, is really important. And I used to drop weight by dehydrating or by eating high fat and high protein and low carb. But I would make the weight, but then I would be absolutely exhausted, dehydrated. And you kind of feel like I need a medal for making weight, because I'm incapable now of lifting to my best anyway. So I've got better at not losing weight in quite such extreme, drastic ways. So I will use protein shakes to make weight, knowing that I've getting the vitamins and the minerals in those protein shakes, as well as the protein. Because making weight safely has become the biggest thing I've probably changed over the years as well, as opposed to making weight and being incapable of doing anything once you've made weight.
Okay, got it. Okay, wow. Okay, so now before getting into kettlebell training, as you know, many athletes, they do all the gym activities, they go for running, they do yoga, and plus they manage their household work, like what we typically call as an activity of daily living. You've been not doing kettlebells before 2012 or maybe before 2015. How was your lifestyle during that time? And when you started lifting kettlebells, what has that made a change in your lifestyle? It can be in the terms of physical and mental health.
Yeah.
Both.
So in terms of mental health, I find kettlebells really helpful. I can be worrying about something, do a set, and get so engrossed in watching my technique or counting my reps, or just in a different headspace, get to the end of the session and I'll think, now I was worried about something. What was it? Or I was angry. Why was I angry? And I can't even remember what I was worried or angry about. So in terms of a displacement activity, I find kettlebells absolutely therapeutic. That rhythm of flow, I just find it soothing mentally.
Okay.
Physically, I just love all the benefits that come with it. Feeling stronger, feeling I can run upstairs when perhaps other people don't run upstairs. I remember being with a group of friends in a pub outside in a garden, and it was a really big crowd after a rugby match, and all of a sudden the crowd started moving and people started falling, and I just thought, I am not going to fall. I am strong. And I had, in that split second, as this people tsunami was coming at me, I knew I would be strong enough to stand up. And I might have been the only person that didn't fall over. It's funny how these things happen. You just know you have that strength not to fall.
Wow. Interesting. Wow. And of course, I mean, I could see and I could relate that, when I'm even speaking with many athletes, they have found a significant change in their physical and well-being, mental well-being, which you have just mentioned, because typically at this age, many don't want to do any lifting, right? I mean, you must have also experienced the same thing. We keep on telling our senior people that, okay, you have to lift weights. Okay, that is not for me. But this can be very inspiring for the women who are above 50.
Yeah. No, I never think, oh, let's go and lift. I look at my program and mostly I think, oh, let's just get it done. And then afterwards I think, oh, I'm really glad I did that, because there's always something to take from it. You learn something about yourself, mentally, physically. You definitely burn calories. It's always worth spending time training. There's no downside, I don't think.
Okay. Wow. What are the challenges do you feel when you start lifting kettlebells at this age? So, for example, if you get a program and you feel, oh my God, this is there, not sure if I'm able to do it. So, what are those challenges, and how do you try to compensate with it? Like, for example, do you replace the program, or do you want to beat that and take up that challenge at this age where you can progress? So.
It's a bit of both. There have been times when I've been set a challenge where I've thought, can't do it, won't do it, or I'll do a lighter version of it. I found it particularly challenging to go from single bell to double bells. I think it probably took me 2 or 3 years during lockdown online to get even comfortable lifting 212s. And I still don't really want to lift more than 212s. So sometimes it's about patience, lowering the standards, but just taking the time. It does require some patience. Other times, if I think back to Paul Connor, who I mentioned right at the start, and I was talking to him about doing a pentathlon many years ago, and he said, don't do it. There's 5 lifts, you're only any good at 2 of them. Don't do it. And I thought, right, I'm going to do it. So sometimes people telling me not to do things absolutely makes me do it. But he's right, and I am gonna need to get all my points to get my Master of Sport in pentathlon from 2 lifts, and just try and get as many as I can from the other 3. So sometimes people telling me I can't do things is absolutely what makes me do it. Okay.
So which is your favorite lift, and which is the lift which you hated? Both the things.
Really easy. So my favorite lift is snatch, always has been snatch. Just find everything about snatch flows beautifully. So absolutely snatch is my favorite lift. My least favorite lift is double jerk, which
why?
It hurts.
Yes.
I feel it in my lower back. I don't feel like I bend back enough. I find the second dip hard. I can't get the breathing right. Yeah, it's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to make friends with it, but Chris Guile and I joke about it because it's absolutely his favorite lift, and he says, "Come on, it's your favorite lift," and I'm going, "Yes, it's my favorite lift." I'm trying to convince myself it's my favorite lift, but it really isn't. Okay. Yeah. So no, I find double jerk really hard.
And what about long cycle? Have you tried it? Double
I
long
love,
cycle or single long cycle, both?
no. I love all forms of long cycle, but not quite as much as snatch. It doesn't have the beautiful flow that snatch has, I don't think, but I do like double long cycle.
Okay, okay. Do you have any negative experience about kettlebells at this age after so many years of practice? Can be anything.
Um, I've had some bizarre experiences in competitions of things
Okay.
going wrong, timers breaking, somebody shouting out my rep count because the counter's broken as well as the timer. I've lifted some horrible bells with terrible handles. I've lifted bells where sand has been falling out of the bottom of them as you've been lifting. So I've had some horrible competition experiences. But that's all part of it. You lift the bell that's in front of you and you just have to get used to it and make the best of it. But no, I wouldn't say I've had any negative experiences. I still have a bit of a mentally before a big competition lift. I just go through a massive amount of self-doubt. Why am I doing this? Why am I here? How could I put my family through the cost of me coming to this country, the other side of the world, to do something so bizarre that nobody understands? So I have a pattern of self-doubt. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. How do you deal with it?
But yeah, just lift. The minute you pick up that bell in the competition, all of that goes. You're just in the zone, and just recognize that it's temporary. That the nerves will pass, that you will succeed. Somehow, having been through it before, you just think it's that feeling again. It'll go.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's just get on with it.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. You've been doing marathon, you've been doing pentathlon, and you've been doing 10-minute classic lifts mostly, or you've been doing 30-minute marathon mostly? Or do you do the 30-minute marathon?
Yeah, no, I do 30 minutes. I've done lots of marathons. I'm currently doing pentathlon. I'm doing world games. I don't think there's anything I haven't tried.
Okay. Okay.
My aim has always been to get Master of Sport or Master of Sport World Class in every endurance lift.
Okay.
So I've got World Games to get and pentathlon to get, which I'm hoping to get in Hungary this year.
Okay. Interesting. Best wishes
so I
for it.
like them all. I like them all. I find them all different challenges, and I try and do every lift in every format. So I've done marathons in jerk, I've done marathons in snatch, I've done marathons in long cycle, and I'm building up to half marathons on doubles as well now.
Oh, interesting. Wow. That's great.
That's very hard.
It's very hard, yeah. So 30 minutes is going to be very tough. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's take a 10-minute event now, and then you have first to 3 minute, 3 to 6 minute, and then last 4 minutes. Yeah. I know most of the people hate the last 3 minutes. Which is those minutes which you really hate, and how do you manage with it? For example, you're entering into the 8th minute, and you say, "Oh my God, still 60 seconds, 120 seconds to go." So how do you deal the demons here?
So I ignore the first 2 minutes because
Okay.
anybody can do the first 2 minutes. And actually, I feel quite similar about the last 2 minutes. The last 2 minutes I'll be on my strong arm because I always start on my left and I finish on my right.
Okay.
So I start weak. So for me, the challenge is how much can I get out of my left arm before I switch? And if I get anything more than 4 minutes, I'm very, very happy. Okay. So for me, minute 3 to 4 is horrible because then it's a case of how much longer can I do this before I have to change? Then timing the change is really, really important. And I've watched lots of people where I'm going, change, please change. And I've seen people say to me, change. And I've thought, no, I'm okay. I know what I'm doing. And so far, so good with that. So minute 3 to 4 is horrible, I think. Probably minute 6 to 7. Well, probably minute 6 to 8 is horrible. But then when I know I've only got 2 minutes to go, because with 2 minutes to go, there's a 1 on the clock. Even if it's 1:59, there's a 1 on the clock. And everybody can do a minute is what I say. So I've only got 1 minute to do, even if there's 2 minutes to go, because anybody can do a minute. And then it's downhill, and then it's dead snatching if I need to, if it's a snatch set. So for me, minutes 3 to 4 are horrible. probably minutes 7 to 8 are horrible. But
Yeah. Wow.
the more
Okay.
you do them, the more you do them, you just recognize the pattern, I think, and it's not so scary, and you just. But also, as you get more experience, you realize the people either side of you are going through exactly the same.
Absolutely.
You're not alone in this.
Yes.
And the person that can bear the pain and the discomfort the best is the person that's going to win. So it's just about tolerating it.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about the double kettlebells? It's going to be very tough.
Yeah, I've done 1 half marathon, double 12 half snatch, which was the hardest 30 minutes of my life. No doubt about it. And I went into that with the training having gone terribly, and I hadn't done more than 23 minutes. And it's now or never. And I just wanted to cry before I even started it. Then when I was underway, it was awful, but at least I was doing it. And then every rep past 23 minutes was a bonus. But as you know, there's no point in doing 29 and a half minutes. You do 30 or you do none. So then it was just hanging on for dear life until that 30 minutes happened. But it was truly awful.
Okay.
And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again in April, hopefully.
Okay. Best wishes.
Because I've done it once. I just have to train to do it again.
Yes. Great. Okay. You've been coaching all the way with a coach. Have you tried coaching without a coach? And of course, you're coaching now with a coach. So what is the experience, if you want to share?
I know that I can't do it on my own. You could send me a load of lifts and rely on me to go and do it on my own, and I just wouldn't do it, or I would half do it, or I'd do it pretty badly. So I need the discipline of a coach watching. If it's online works really well for me. I need somebody to watch me do it, to make me do it. So for me, coaching is absolutely essential. Not just that accountability of showing up and doing it in front of somebody, but the observation of your technique and the feedback on your technique. And I learn loads from watching other people as well. I love watching other people lift. I can see what people are doing well. I can see how they might improve. I can't necessarily do it myself, but I can see it in other people. So for me, a coach is essential. Yeah.
Great. So wow, it's a lots of information you have given and lots of experience what you have shared. I'm sure the viewers would definitely enjoy it. I would like to know your best lifting records, Jenny, in all formats. Marathon, 10-minute classic, pentathlon, best ones, like maybe in the worlds, or maybe if the worlds is not better, maybe the nationals is better. Probably you want to share the nationals one. So yeah, if you can share everything.
So my best GS lift is 10 minutes, 16 kilogram snatch, 180 reps.
Wow.
I can't remember my numbers for, 236 is my, or it might be 237 is my 12 kilogram snatch record. These are British records as well. Gosh, I've got
10 minutes, 10 minute long cycle, 16 kilos.
Cycle, 16 kilograms. I don't have a British record for that, but I think my PB is 110 maybe.
Okay. And have you tried double 12s?
Double 12 long cycle. Yes, my PB is 82 with double 12s, and WKSF recorded that as a world record, which was nice. Double jerks, I think 88 rings a bell. I find I can almost do as many long cycles as I can jerks, which shows you how much I dislike jerks. Then I've got a lot of marathon records. I had a crazy day in Denmark a couple of years ago, probably 4 years ago now, where I did 3 marathons in a morning because I wanted to get as many Master of Sport or Master of Sport World Class rankings in a day, and got three that day.
Interesting.
So pentathlon is my big challenge. I want 1,000 points in pentathlon. I've got it twice online, but it doesn't count. And when I've tried to get it at World Championships, the first time I dropped the bell during the clean, so that didn't go well. And then last year, I think I got 988 points, and I needed 1,000. So me and pentathlon have got business outstanding. So okay. I'm hoping to get 1,000 points in Hungary. Yeah,
sure you will.
And then nice. The double half snatch that I was telling you about, I got 245 reps in 30 minutes with the double 12s in the long cycle. And then I'm doing the World Games for the first time with double 12s for 10 minutes, hoping to get Master of Sport World Class in that in Hungary as well.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So have you done long cycle 30 minutes with 16 kilograms?
Have I? Not internationally, no.
Acha, locally in the national?
I think I did it as a qualifier. Okay. It's not. If you look at what I've got and what I haven't got, that's the one I'm missing, but not enough to make me want to do it for a while. I still find I would probably rather do lighter doubles than single arm 16 long cycle. Don't know why.
Okay. It's so great to see your records and what you're doing at this age, especially when you started very late. It's going to be very inspiring for the people in India. And I'm sure even your close mates or friends must not be aware of what you have done so much. Especially, our family members take us for granted. So when they see such kind of podcast, they are going to be a little surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't know me as an athlete in any shape or form. They're not that interested. My kids couldn't be less interested, I don't think. But it's my thing. It's not for anybody else. For me, it's just my thing.
Okay. Anyone from your family lives looking at you? Oh, Jenny is doing. I can do it very easily if she's doing.
No, I don't think so. No. My husband sometimes picks up a kettlebell and does a jerk or something, and it's like, no, I hate it. He'll just do one and no, he hates it. He's a very good swimmer. He's a very good cyclist. He's just never going to be a kettlebell lifter, and that's fine.
Okay. Wow. So yeah, we are almost on the final message. If you can just share with the Indian lifters and inspire them, your journey, your experience, if you can just share in one line, one sentence, or maybe you want to go a little deeper, also no problem.
I think for me, kettlebells is a great way to get fit, stay healthy, stay mobile, keep your weight down. It's just the all-round sport, and there's never a right time to do it. There's no point in waiting for it to be the right time. I'm often reminded of the saying that if you want to grow an oak tree, you should have planted it 20 years ago. But the second best time to grow an oak tree is today, because it's still going to take 20 years. So there will never be a right time. Therefore, why don't you just start, is what I would say. But it's addictive. I don't know how to stop. I may never stop, and that's fine too.
Yes. Great. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you very much for your time, very valuable time, and very valuable information. And I'm sure once this editing is done and once the podcast is ready, I'm going to share this with everyone and share with you as well. I wish you good luck on your upcoming competitions, and I look forward for your Master of Sports and Master of Sports World Class and many more laurels to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.